All right, are we live? Am I live again? I can't tell. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it. All right. I'll get the hang of this eventually. But yeah, so here I am again because yesterday I was here talking about some posts I had saved on my Instagram and how they were all connected in this weird tinfoil hat type of way, and everything is basically collapsing, which I'm sure everybody already knows. But there's you can't just stop talking about it, right? Because then they win. I guess you could, but then they would just steamroll right over you. I don't know. Maybe there's no solution to this problem anyways. But yeah. New York Magazine a couple days ago posted this very flattering puff piece about Pennsylvania Senate candidate John Fetterman. The vulnerability of John Fetterman. I mean, he's just, and it links to this article here so you can kind of see Intelligencer. It's all just fake propaganda nonsense inside this year's highest stakes Senate race. So they're trying to paint this guy that, this guy, he wears the Carhartt hoodies and he's got the tennis ball jetting out of his neck and all that stuff. He's got the tattoos. But then we see another article. So it was only a couple days ago, October 10th, a week or so ago, I guess now, maybe more than a week now, but the vulnerability of John Fetterman. He's so cool. He's just one of us. He's, it's all on the level, man. Just vote Democrat. It doesn't matter if he can't put together a sentence. In fact, that actually helps us. That's why we like him, is because he can't put together a sentence. And if you question that, then you, of course, are ableist. That's the thing now. I mentioned that we were told that we don't like old white men, but this is what they keep serving us, because these particular type of old white men will certainly play ball, which reminds me of another story that I saw recently. Maybe I can bring it up. I'm getting off track here already, but apparently the NHL is too white, and I don't know how they plan to fix that. Let's see. NHL, its workforce is 84% white, sets baseline to up diversity. And clearly these type of stories, they want, a certain type of diversity. They don't want diversity of thought, as corny as that sounds. They want, those very controllable, fall in line minorities that are going to, use the pronouns and use the Latinx and the Latin and all that stuff. They don't want somebody who's going to say, this doesn't really make any sense. So it's not real. They don't want real diversity. They just want people that will fall in line. So I guess basically them saying they want it's always the opposite. Just remember that. You know that. It's not new. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. It's basically always the opposite. They're always projecting. So we want some more of those controllable blacks, some of those controllable minorities, not the ones who might have listened to College Dropout. You know what I mean? But anyways, I'm digressing because from this, how did I? Oh, the old white man thing, and then I got to the hockey thing. Sorry, this is a free form stream of consciousness stream. Right? Okay. So after we saw these puff pieces about how cool John Fetterman was and he wears basketball shorts and a hoodie, we have this story from the Washington Free Beacon. Bad medicine. Doctor granting Fetterman clean bill of health is a campaign donor. Dr. Clifford Chin has given tens of thousands of dollars to Democrats, including Fetterman. So every single thing about these people is always completely fake. I mean, they will stoop. No bar is too low. A guy who's recovering from a stroke and can't put together a sentence, can't even hear what you're saying, has to use the closed captioning. And if you even mention that, then you should face consequences, according to his wife, who's actually not bad looking, but that's not the point here. John Fetterman's campaign is citing John Fetterman's campaign is citing a political donor's note as proof that the Senate hopeful has a clean bill of health. In a letter released by Fetterman's team, Dr. Clifford Chin said Fetterman has, quote, significantly improved and can work full duty in public office. And here's where it gets Here's where it gets better. I don't know why this is so hazy. Maybe somebody can help me fix this. The filter, the lighting. What's going on here? Jeez. Am I too close? Am I too far? All right, whatever. We'll figure this out eventually. Chin's political leanings, that's the doctor, of course. Chin's political leanings could raise questions about his medical assessment of Fetterman, whose race against Republican, debatable, Mehmet Oz could determine which party controls the Senate. Okay? He contributed $1,330 to Fetterman's campaign, including a $500 donation in June 2021 before he became the doctor, before he became Fetterman's doctor. He also donated to Val Demings in Florida and Raphael Warnock in Georgia. And then he goes on to say, this isn't about politics. Fetterman campaign spokesman Joe Calvello told the Washington Free Beacon. It's an independent, detailed medical report written by John's primary care doctor based on his latest visit from last week. So, yeah, it's a doctor. It's a doctor. Trust the doctor. You always have to trust the doctor. You always have to trust the science, of course, when it comes to, biological differences between men and women. Then you can just trust our pseudoscience, our activist, our weirdo political activist brand of science that, of course, doesn't really mean trust the science. It means just do whatever it is that we tell you to do. So, I mean, in the span of a week, this guy goes from there praising him. Now, granted, the Washington Free Beacon, I guess, is a right-wing outlet, you could call it, but for better or for worse, I think it's pretty clear that reality has become right-wing, right? Questioning the insanity of the establishment left policies or lack thereof, really, or they're expressing any sort of any detractors from the managed decline that they're putting us through. It makes you a right wing. You can ask Tulsi, who I guess is she's independent. She's just trying to get, come on the stream, Tulsi. I know you were trying to get your podcast off the ground. That's why you said you were leaving. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. I love to see a good smear of Democrats. I'm not knocking that. I think she made good points. But if it were even remotely real, she would have done it years ago. It wouldn't be the day before a podcast drop. But I guess, she wants to take down some Democrats, so she comes with a little October surprise. So I guess I'm on the fence about Tulsi, but I think the bottom line is, if her little shtick were real, she would have done it years ago. This didn't happen yesterday. But again, if you want to sabotage Democrats before the midterms, I don't really have a problem with that. So that's pretty much it on Fetterman. I just wanted to kind of highlight the fact that they're trying so hard to paint this guy as competent. That's how low the bar has gotten, which I guess is a little bit higher than what they were saying about Joe Biden back on his campaign trail when they were saying just don't die. I think that might have been the New York Times. I don't know. Basically, somebody wrote an article. We just don't die. Let me see if I can find that. I forget the exact quote. I think it was. Maybe this is going to be a little bit harder to find than I thought. But there was an outlet at one point during the campaign season, the presidential campaign season. They said we basically just need, we just need him not to die. Is basically what they were saying, and it's what they're saying again now with John Fetterman. But now they're saying if you question his arguable, his mental state, then of course you need to face consequences. Every single time, if you don't obey, if you have a wrong opinion, we're gonna sue you for $1 billion. We're gonna sue you for $250 million. Stop saying things that we don't like. We're gonna kick you off the platform. You can't say that. It's just so absolutely insane how this how we got here. So besides that, I wanted to just take a look I just wanted to scroll through my Instagram like I usually do because I always have all these like, weird posts. Like I said, I've curated this thing to be pretty, pretty diverse, shall we say. So I was just going to take a live look and see what's happening and just talk about them here rather than saving them and maybe posting them to my story. And maybe I'll still post them to my story. I don't know. But I don't even, I haven't looked. I haven't been on the gram in, a couple hours. So let's see what's happening here. Tomas. Let's see. UCLA student sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for walking into the Capitol on J6. Reposted from Tucker, I guess. Let's see.
This week, a 24-year-old former UCLA student called Christian Secor was sentenced to 3.5 years in federal prison. Now, by Merrick Garland standards, that's a very long time. Even people who commit acts of terrorism don't spend that long in jail. For example, Christian Secor will spend far more time behind bars than the two attorneys who firebombed a police cruiser in New York City during the BLM riots back in 2020. Merrick Garland wants them out in just 2 years. All they did was firebomb a police cruiser. So what exactly did Christian Secor do to spend more time behind bars? A lot more than those guys. Well, on January 6th of 2021, Christian Secor walked into the Senate chamber and sat down briefly in Mike Pence's seat. That's it. Didn't hurt anyone. Sat in Mike Pence's seat. For that, Christian Secor will spend more time in prison than people who tried to set police officers on fire, to murder police officers. So what does Mike Pence think of this? A man going to prison for 3.5 years for sitting in his seat. He didn't issue a statement about it, so we called his office. What do you think? He didn't respond. Maybe he will. It'd be interesting to know. What does Mike Pence think? Is he for this? That's it for us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, Sean Hannity's next.
Okay. Yeah, that's dark stuff. And this is another look. It always goes back to the same thing. Every single week on the podcast with Andrew, every time I'm at work, it always boils down to the same thing. It's a two-tier justice system. That's the foundation of this insanity we're living through. If things like this didn't happen, if Donald Trump weren't being investigated and harassed every single day by the feds while Hillary Clinton and Hunter Biden go scot-free, if, lockdown protesters like myself, this is maybe why it's particularly triggering to me, is because when you have 24 people protesting the COVID lockdown way back in May of 2020, maybe even April of 2020, a long time ago, 24 people that were saying this doesn't make sense, and they get arrested. Maybe I should bring up that article. I'm sure the New York Post got my good side. It was a long time ago. I'll see if I can find it. So yeah, when you have people getting arrested inside of an hour for protesting the lockdown with tiny little American flags, just saying they wanted to go back to work. This is pre-shot. This is pre-mask even, really, or it might have been right around the time the masks were just starting to heat up before it became like this weird, divisive, new MAGA hat type of thing. Those people are arrested. Boom, quick. But then when Saint Fentanyl, kicks the bucket, so to speak, people are protesting in New York City for a guy who died in Minneapolis, and they get to camp out for weeks on end. They get to camp out there for 3 weeks. It literally became just a junkie den. I mean, I have all the receipts. I encourage anybody who's watching this and not following me on Instagram, or even if you are following me on Instagram, scroll all the way down, and you can find the old footage, pictures, videos of me getting arrested only a month before BLM protesters at the exact same park are allowed to camp out for 3 weeks. So this is what we're seeing. This is, now obviously I didn't spend any time and go to jail for 3.5 years, but this is the next step to that. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm always talking about as loud as I possibly can, is that it's this justice system that's completely, it's completely out of whack, right? Like the lady with the blindfold and the scales, that's all gone. It's all completely done. It's all completely phony. Every single thing has become a weapon. That's like when they raided Trump at Mar-a-Lago and they're like, oh, the FBI has become weaponized. Yeah, where have you been? Yeah, yes, the FBI has become weaponized. Every single thing is a weapon. Let me see if I can find that article. I think it was called Reopen Protesters or something. Here it is. May 9th, 2020. Perfect. Reopen, protesters busted outside New York City Hall. So this is well before the two-tier justice system had gotten to the J6 level, to all that insanity. This is well before that, right? So this is how it got there. This is how it built up. Reopen, NY protesters busted outside New York City Hall, right? May 9th, 2020. Let's see the pictures. There's the OG right there. You know what I'm saying? There he is, looking good. It was cold. Haven't worn a jacket like that in years while hot here. But look, it was May too. I guess the summer hadn't really kicked in yet. But yeah, this is what's happening. These guys are all muzzled up. These stupid cops, these stupid de Blasio henchmen that can't think for themselves. When we got arrested, you know what I mean? When they were, cuffing us, they blasted, before they cuffed us, I should say, they blasted us with propaganda from a boombox. They wouldn't even talk to us. They wouldn't even say, hey, we don't agree with this, or just following orders. They didn't say anything. They just blasted us with propaganda from a boombox, like some, it was really dystopian. And I knew it even at the time. Like, it was so dark. Oh, of course, a pharmaceutical ad. Of course, why not, right? Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you wake up hungry? Do you have to pee in the middle of the night? Take some more drugs. But yeah, so this is what happened. And then let's see if we could find a little bit about the George Floyd protesters that were down there and allowed to stay for a week. And again, you can look at I think I have some pretty good content surrounding it, but let's see what the mainstream media had to say about it. It was the Chaz. It was the City Hall Autonomous Zone. NYC. It's so old now. We've already been through so much stuff. And I guess, let's see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the, maybe this is it. 100, yeah, here's a little bit about it. This article is more than 2 years old, from The Guardian. Hundreds of Occupy City Hall protesters demand NYPD cut budget by $1 billion. Yep, this is the exact same park that I was arrested at on May 9th, 2020. They got us. Shout out Tony. Shout out Linda. I don't know that lady, but they were cool. And then the homie back here in the background, we actually did file a lawsuit against the mayor that didn't go anywhere because the entire system is corrupted all the way up to the top. But yeah, so May 9th, 2020, reopen NY protesters busted outside. And then June 30th, so, okay, 6 weeks later, hundreds of Occupy City Hall protesters demand blah, blah, blah. And they get what they want, for the record. They demanded that $1 billion be cut from the NYPD budget, and then they did it. So we got arrested, put in a paddy wagon, I guess, and then, NYPD officers forcefully put masks on our face with their hands. Who knows where an NYPD officer's hands have been. So we're treated like actual criminals for walking around a park with little American flags, kind of asking to go back to work. But these people, they destroy a whole city block. They spray paint everything. They're shooting drugs. Look at this. Look at these. People are disgusting slobs. Look, of course, the Guardian's going to write like 6,000 words about it. But this is how bad it is. And that's why, okay, so I got off track. But, yeah, that's how it starts, is us just getting arrested and, taken to the station for a couple hours and then let out for wrongthink. All the way now, you fast forward 2 years, and people are getting sent to jail for 3.5 years, basically for wrongthink. Like, Okay, I mean, at worst, there should be some sort of probation, maybe an ankle monitor, and that's at its very, very worst. That's at its very worst. Nobody who wasn't there another in Seattle or Portland or something where they commandeered some sort of federal bit? I don't know. You could fact check me on that. I don't want to get that wrong, but moving on. PBD. We're the luckiest generation alive. Don't let the media convince you that it's the worst. It's utter nonsense and absolutely disgusting. What we need is gratitude. What we needed is love. What we needed is perspective. What's needed is, sorry, did I read that all wrong? But what's needed is the ability to question nonsense. All right, shout out PBD. You know, he's the GOAT, right? Like, we can't, and he manages to somehow say sane, rational things all the time, and I don't think he's even gotten close to getting banned, right? Like, he's not really a culture, like, he is a culture warrior. Like, his podcast is huge, his platform's huge, people like him, people listen to him. He's kind of like in the realm of Joe Rogan, but he's never, I don't know, like, where, the difference between him and a guy like Andrew Tate, right? Because Andrew Tate, I guess, says things about women that people don't like or whatever. But PBD is always spitting facts, and he seems, this is as close as you can get to, I think, actually shooting it down the middle. Now, I don't think realistically he's even remotely down the middle because he's incredibly rich and he's not going to play any of those weirdo Democrat games. But he portrays himself as very moderate and like just a likable guy. Vice News, the worst of the worst. Or again, Daily Beast, Vox, Vice, all just garbage. After the events of January 6th, it became clear many of the key players and extremist groups who organized the attacks were either veterans or active duty servicemen. Since January 6th, the Pentagon has scrambled to try and address the present-day problem of extremism. Oh, my. Are you kidding me? These people are just awful. Okay. This is actually real. This is a Vice News post from 7 hours ago. Sorry. Okay. I know from all the veterans that I've seen in these extremist organizations that we have an effing problem. These people are just, they can't stop. They just can't stop the military's problem with extremism in its ranks. What? Guys, why go then leave if you hate everything? Just let's see what these people are just terrible. Vice. This has to be a joke. And then on the other end of this, they're going to tell you that, if your little boy wants to play with a doll, then take him to the gender therapist. That's not extreme. I mean, it just they're talking about the Ku Klux Klan and the Civil War. What? All because some people didn't buy the idea that somehow. I mean, really, if you look back at it, you can see how ridiculous it was. It's still ridiculous now to think that it's very simple. It's very simple, I should say. To anybody who thinks that it all just made sense and there was, how could you even question any of this stuff? It just made perfect sense that we flooded the entire country with mail-in ballots and a guy campaigning from his basement was more popular than Barack Obama. It's that simple. It's just that simple. You can ask a Biden supporter if there's any left. Do you think he's more popular than Barack Biden? It's that simple. And they're still harping on it. January 6th, KKK, Civil War. It's like, we're definitely, we're in it. I always say we're in it. We've been in it for a long time, but this is what it looks like. It doesn't look like this picture that Vice puts up. It looks like these posts that Vice puts up, if that makes sense. We're not going to be running around shooting everybody with weapons of war, assault weapons. It's just going to be the constant informational war. You know what I mean? That's what it is. We're in it. We are living it. We are eyeball deep. We're almost going to drown, obviously, in fake news.
Sponsor Smartsheet isn't content.
It's an ad. Smartsheet platform. I don't know what this is. Okay. We got a little Bay Area stuff. In what sounds like an instance of NASA-level spending, the city of San Francisco is budgeting $1.7 million for a single public toilet in the Noe Valley neighborhood. You know what's also funny is that my favorite, Scott Wiener, was also in Noe Valley recently. So are these things connected? Let's see here. Let's take a look at Scott Wiener. Come on. There we go. Oh. Yeah, so Scott Wiener. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. All right, this one's not so bad. That's like a normal family. Normal. Okay. All right. There's a MILF. Okay, so fair enough. That's fine, but this is dark. This is incredibly dark. And this is dark. This Saturday at Noe Courts is our annual pumpkin carving with celebrity drag queen judges. So while that's happening, the same neighborhood, Noe Valley, is spending $1.7 million for a single public toilet. Now, I don't know. I don't have really any conspiracy theories, tinfoil hat stuff about this. Can you even say conspiracy now? I don't even know if even that word. Who knows? We're all walking on eggshells because we're so close to the election. And we did, for the record, I did way back in 2020. I think I got a very heavy shadow ban on my Instagram, and then just so predictably, right after the election, it lifted, and I gained a bunch of followers and a whole bunch of engagement. So I don't know. That's a completely different story, but it's just kind of funny that there's a story of Noe Valley spending nearly $2 million on one toilet, and then Scott Wiener is also in Noe Valley doing drag queen pumpkin carving. They just can't get enough with the drag queens, right? So I don't know if those two things are connected. It seems like there's something a little bit strange there, right? Like, oh, just by chance, we need to install a $2 million toilet in Noe Valley. Also in Noe Valley, we're going to do pumpkin carving with drag queens in a completely unrelated event. It's just a little weird. Like there's something going on there where this, and I still haven't seen Candace's documentary, but as I understand, they're basically, funneling money to these LGBTQ barbecue, whatever, entities. So that kind of sounds like what's happening there, but I can't say. Are you a mosquito magnet? It could be your smell. All right. I actually do have a couple mosquito bites, but nothing serious there. Carrie Lake, of course. Where's Katie? Pretty funny. We're getting close. Longtime NBA referee. Oh. Cause of death at the link in bio. Well, that's pretty dark. You have to, they're using, and it's gonna work. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna work. I'm gonna do it. But you have to go to the link in bio to see how this guy died. Oh, it looks like my page is gonna refresh. That's okay. Police are investigating after landscapers discovered a car buried in the backyard of a property in Atherton. Okay, more dark stuff. But where were we? Oh yeah, the referee. Longtime NBA referee. Okay, after cancer battle. Because where everybody wants to take it. I'm not going to take it there. I would never suggest, that something happened over the past couple of years that has sort of been plaguing people and it's finally starting to catch up. I wouldn't make any sort of conclusions like that. That's impossible. So I guess we had a little refill here. A little refresh.
Francisco Mayor London Breed apologizes for comments she made about a group of Latino people. That and more news coming up on Synced.
So apparently the mayor of San Francisco is completely corrupt, is apologizing to a group of Latinos. This is news to me. Let's see what they have to say.
Hey everyone, she's apologizing. Mayor Breed is facing backlash following some comments she made about migrants from Honduras, saying they're mainly
from Honduras. Okay, yeah, all right. What a joke.
responsible for drug activity in the Tenderloin. She made these comments during a live KQED show at the beginning of the month. It recently picked up heat after the video started circulating. Take a listen.
There are, unfortunately, a lot of people who come from a particular country come from Honduras. A lot of the people who are dealing drugs happen to be of that ethnicity.
Early Wednesday, Mayor Breed issued a statement apologizing, adding, in trying to explain what is happening in the Tenderloin, she failed to accurately and comprehensively discuss what is an incredibly complex situation in San Francisco and in Central America. What are your thoughts on this?
Wow. So the mayor is trying to crack. I mean, I can't stand London Breed. I think she's a terrible floozy. She was dating that corrupt Department of Public Works guy. She's done nothing good. She's even paid an ethics violation fine, which is obviously a drop in the bucket because she's the highest paid mayor in the entire country. And now, I mean, the snake always eats its own tail, right? These people always eat themselves. So she knows that San Francisco has a huge drug problem. They're trying to, I guess, clean it up, or they're pretending that they're trying to clean it up. And she says that Hondurans are trafficking the drugs in San Francisco, and then they get mad. I mean, where does it stop? You can't say what's happening and then try to stop it. And that's why you have to walk over human feces in San Francisco, is because they pretend that it's just a utopia. The only people that have ever done anything wrong in San Francisco, of course, the evil white people that live in Pacific Heights in a $2 million house. Those are the only people that you can ever blame anything that goes wrong in San Francisco on. You can't say it's Fillmore thugs. You can't say it's Honduran immigrants. You can't say it's junkies, shooting up under a golf umbrella on O'Farrell Street. You can't say any of that. But you can tell the mayor that she needs to apologize for saying that Honduran immigrants are part of the problem, that the whole city has become an open-air drug market. This is crazy. Ana Navarro. Jeez. What is she talking about? Can Liz Truss outlast a lettuce? All right. I guess that's kind of funny. I don't know much about this Liz Truss lady. She stepped down after 45 days. Oh, here we go. Oh, MSNBC is always good. Why some Republicans have made odd claims about school litter boxes. Okay. So they're pinning Joe Rogan as a Republican because he said something about a friend of his who has a kid at school and they had to put litter boxes in the classroom or something. That's what I assume they're talking about. I think we saw that clip a week or so ago. It was 2 weeks ago when CNN ran a report about former state Senator Scott Jensen pushing a bizarre urban myth. But what about education? What are we going to do to our kids? Why are we telling elementary kids that they get to choose their gender this week? Why do we have litter boxes in some of the schools districts so kids can pee in them because they identify as a furry? We've lost our minds. Yeah, well, that's true. But the Minnesota Republican isn't the only one who helped spread the myth. Okay, so it's a myth. Far too many Republicans and their allies on the right appear to have embraced this madness. Really? Is that right? Okay, fine. Maybe there was never a litter box. Maybe there was never a litter box in any of the schools. Maybe it never happened. But we've come so far that reality and parody are indistinguishable. You just can't tell. You literally can't tell. And that's the point. They want you to not be able to tell. All right, moving on. MSNBC. Okay, more ads. Oh, this is Mayor Adams in his gun violence jacket. It's a 24-hour city. Mayor Adams defends party lifestyle. Wow. Eric Adams has defended his late-night party lifestyle, which makes sense because he's, 65 years old or whatever, and he has a girlfriend. He's talking about his girlfriend. It's like, bro, you're you're the mayor. It's not like you're hard up on cash. You're just not gonna marry her. You're gonna live this weird liberal lifestyle, and you're in a throuple or something. What's happening? My nightlife is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, this guy's an absolute scumbag. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like he's actually he's arguably worse than de Blasio, just like Hochul is 100% provably worse than Cuomo. So every time they get a new person, it's obviously going to be worse than the last. They're never going to be ousted and then replaced with a common sense person. That will never happen. And this guy who's in his 60s is talking about how he parties. It doesn't make any sense. Twin Tower stuff. Oh, Washington Compost. Study warns black women. Chemical hair straightening tied to uterine cancer. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. That sounds racist to me. Do you really want to warn these black women? Like, I mean, right at the rate we're going with the trust the science, the gender ideology, I mean, this true things are now deemed rude. So you shouldn't be warning these black women. Like, how do you even know what a woman? We don't even know what a woman is, right? Like, this doesn't make sense. This circular logic is just insane. But this is what the Washington Compost does. It's still race baiting, and then on the next post they're gonna say about something about how the companies who make the product are racist. Who knows? It's like you couldn't tell us what a woman is over the summer, and now you're warning black women. I mean, it just goes on and on. I'm preaching to the choir, but it's absolutely insane. Do I look like I'm going to fly? Okay, I don't know. Yeah, sure. Cara Castronova, I think, is running for something. I'm fighting for you. Vote November 8th. Please donate to my campaign. She's in New York. I forget exactly what she's running for, but I was a little disappointed because I think she put some pronouns in her bio, which was disappointing. Maybe it was the other one. I think she has like a Kara for Congress or Kara for City Council or something, where she did have the pronouns, and that was a little disappointing, but whatever. I'm sure she's more sane. You know, she's playing in New York. It's like same thing Larry Elder did when he was running for governor. Of course, he obviously lost the recall against Gavin, but he said something along the lines of, you can use the women's restroom if you get the surgery or something. It's like when you're in these crazy radical states, in these crazy radical places, you kind of unfortunately have to play the game because they basically already won. We've gone so far that you have to capitulate to their insanity, and then I guess you can almost maybe try to weasel your way in. And maybe you shouldn't. I mean, on second thought here, you probably shouldn't capitulate to the insanity because the ideologues, the crazy ideologues, are not going to like you either way. They've already been brainwashed. They're too far out. They're too deep in. Their heels are dug. So you capitulating to one of their demands, they're only going to ask for more. And now you've only gotten rid of some people who don't play the games. You know, they're not going to support you anymore. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So anyways, so she was on Bannon though. Shout out Bannon. Let's see. Fox News has learned the Biden administration is funding drag performances in Ecuador, with the State Department awarding more than $20,000 to an Ecuadorian cultural center to host drag theater performance in the name of diversity and inclusion. Yeah, see, so that's the same thing. It's like San Francisco buys the $2 million toilet, and then in the same neighborhood that they do drag queen pumpkin carving, right? So there's the same thing with Black Lives Matter. Oh, we raised all this money, and then it goes to LGBTQ stuff. It's like there's clearly an agenda. Okay, we got some economic arbitrage, Andy, unusual wells. Elon Musk has reportedly told prospective investors in his deal to buy the company that he planned to get rid of nearly 75% of Twitter's 7,500 workers. Okay, so they're gone. Fair enough. Yeah, get rid of them. I'm sure it's all dead weight. I mean, so you could probably do the same thing with our entire federal government. You could get rid of 75% and nobody would notice. In fact, if you did notice, it would only be good, right? I mean, it's all gotten so bloated, so disgusting. It doesn't make any sense anymore. But here we are, just toiling away. Oh, go vote. Yeah.
We've got your back.
All right, national car rental. Fair enough. I Need Your Freedom Rally 2.0, The Art of Freedom. Shout out Mark. Shout out Mark for NY. Florida school is ordered to provide bathrooms separated by biological sex. Oh, groundbreaking stuff. This is how far we've come. Is that this is a news headline that that schools need bathrooms. That's how far we've come. Because these weirdos want to put boys in the girls' bathroom, that it's news when a school says, no, we're going to just do regular bathrooms. Give me a break. City Hall staff were fired after slamming city's migrant response and the cops. Okay. Yeah, that's another Veritas clip. I can't even keep up with what Veritas is doing. They're going at a pretty rapid clip, exposing these people. Some are better than others, obviously. I think they advertise every single one as like a bombshell, and some are, pretty exciting and exclusive, and some are like, yeah, of course, well, we knew that. But I guess it's always good to, have the hard, we got you in 4K, and then, of course, the mainstream media comes out and says, well, that's doctored video. That's doctored video. It's like, dude, these weirdos still don't understand that when a cute girl approaches you or sends you a DM that she works for James O'Keefe. This is probably more race baiting from ABC News. A Cleveland judge allegedly wore a tank top and sneakers to court, joked about taking bribes from defendants, and referenced a show about strip clubs. She's been suspended. Oh, that's pretty funny. I've never been to Cleveland. I don't know what's going on over there. The Mediterranean Sea is so hot, it's fizzing carbon dioxide, kind of like when you open up a warm bottle of soda. Yeah, I'm sure. Mother Jones. This is all ridiculous. Oh yeah, of course. Biden and Fetterman. And we used to see this with Cuomo and it could be Cuomo and Cuomo. It could be Cuomo and de Blasio. It could be Garcetti and Newsom. I mean, it could be a laundry list of people that are ruining things left and right. Okay, yeah, we already saw that. 75. Get rid of 75% of Twitter employees. That's fair. Let's see what Kyrie has to say. We wouldn't be doing our jobs to the best of our ability if we didn't stand on what we believe in. Kyrie calls on President Joe Biden to do your job to free Britney. Well, I think I can't prove this, but I think if Donald Trump were president, Britney Griner wouldn't be there. You can ask A$AP Rocky. You can ask LeAngelo Ball. He gets it done. Joe Biden can't even put together a sentence. He's not in charge. They don't really care. And now, you're a pawn in this weird proxy war that we're fighting with Russia that is basically all about money laundering as far as I can tell. More ads. Subaru. All right, so this is the story of the night. Elon firing 75%. I still don't really buy the Twitter thing. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, we literally played this game already once, and now Kanye says he's going to buy Parler, or he's in talks to make a deal with Parler. I just don't really buy any of it until I see it. So tell me about it after. Tell me about it after it happens. You keep building it up and then never following through on these stories. I still want to know what happened to Jussie Smollett. He was supposed to do 6 months or 5 months or something, and then he has friends in high places, and they let him out, and it was on appeal, and 2 years went by, and Rona happened or whatever, and now we don't know anything about that. He literally tried to start a race war in the country, and he just walks away because he's friends with Kamala. Diwali to be NYC public school holiday starting 2023. I don't know what that is. It's one of those things they put on your iPhone calendar and you can't get rid of it. Got a lot of people calling me a fake fan, so I just got, this is a Kanye fan account, Kanye Unlimited. I don't know what he said. For the most part, I always try to defend him when I do know the situation, but every time I really don't know what he's trying to say, I give a little comment I usually suggest. So, whatever. It doesn't matter. This guy, he runs this big Kanye West account, and he probably fell for the mainstream media hoax about, Hollywood or whatever. So, this guy goes to bat for Kanye all the time, and then the propaganda finally got to him, right? It's just, it happens. Like, you finally break, like, when the fake news media just keeps beating you over the head and showing you some random clip and, putting the headlines out of context and telling you that he's going to pay $250 million because he lied about George Floyd. Meanwhile, the autopsy report says exactly what happened, and it's going to, it's just, and Alex Jones called it. Alex Jones was right? I mean, our Alex Jones was right jar is full. It's been it's been overflowing, but he literally said, he was talking to Steven Crowder a couple days ago and said, this is all just the left. This is all just the, hold on, let me get, can I do Crowder? This is all just the left. What they're doing is they're making a scene. They're trying to scare people, bring out more lawyers and send more lawsuits. And then like 3 days later, they start to sue Kanye for something he said. Not something he did, for something he said. And finally, this Kanye fan account finally just folded to the propaganda. Mark Zuckerberg seems to be ignoring Facebook for his mostly vacant metaverse. Okay, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. After just 45 days in office, Liz Truss is eligible to collect nearly £115,000 allowance for the rest of her life. All right, good to know. I will look into that. Will you eat a plant-based steak after seeing how what? No, well, this doesn't even make sense. Shout out Western Journal, though. They do pretty good work, but will you eat a plant-based steak after seeing how a 3D printer builds one? No, I wouldn't do that before seeing how a 3D printer builds one or after. And also, it's not a steak. A plant-based steak? No. Stop. Will the vegans and the plant people, will they stop making fake meat? I mean, you have all these fruits and vegetables and, potatoes. I guess that is a vegetable. Root vegetables. You have all this stuff that you could just eat. Just go eat grass and air and stop trying to form, black beans into a cheeseburger patty and call it stop doing that. You have all your stuff. Just be vegan and eat the grass, eat the air. You're gonna be fine. Stop trying to turn meat stuff into vegan stuff. Nobody wants it. Nobody cares. It's the same thing with the Transformers. Like, just stop, okay? We can see through it. It tastes disgusting, and no. The answer is no. Western Journal. The answer is no. I wouldn't, and that's not a steak. I guess the point I'm trying to make. ABC News reporter missing since FBI raided his home. Well, that's dark. I wonder what this is from 13 hours ago. Article at link in bio. Oh, they're going to do it every single time. You got to go to the link in bio. I'll bite because I haven't heard about this story actually. ABC News reporter and investigative journalist James Gordon. Oh, Meek. Okay. Everybody was calling him Meek. Okay, I did hear a little bit about this story. And not been seen by his neighbors or colleagues since the FBI raided his home in late April. What? Wow. Resigned very abruptly. Oh, he was slated to release a book for Simon and Schuster that tells the story of a retired Green Beret who helped evacuate over 500 Afghans during President Biden's Afghanistan withdrawal. Huh. Yeah, they're definitely trying to memory hole that one. Last August 2021, right? Notably, Meek produced the Hulu documentary 3212 Unredacted, which focused on his reports about a 2017 ISIS ambush in Niger that left 4 Green Berets dead. Jordan Dixon Hamilton, is that Patriot J? Shout out Patriot J. I think that's him. Jordan Dixon Hamilton. Shout out Patriot J. This is crazy. So I guess that documentary, but he was writing a book about the botched Afghan withdrawal, and then he goes missing. I can't draw any conclusions there, but it's definitely strange. Definitely strange. This is grotesque, disturbing behavior. Texas AG calls for criminal prosecution against drag performers who promote sex to children. All right, shout out Rebel too. That makes sense. And then, of course, the mainstream media is going to continue to paint this as extremism. And it's like, dude, you guys just need to stop with the kids and the Transformers and all that stuff. Shout out Topher. Everyone around me agrees that the media has been manipulative, misleading, and straight pushing misinformation for decades. But now when I start to talk about the people that own and control the media, I'm anti-Semitic and spreading hate. Yeah, that's a fact. Right? I mean, this, this, of course, stems from what Kanye said, and you're just not allowed to say that. You're just not allowed, like, and that's the thing, is like something that could be so blatantly true. For years, it was never a problem. Or, you know, Michelle Obama and Harvey Weinstein and Hillary all buddy. It was never a problem until you start to literally say something that's blatantly obvious, and then they call you crazy. That's the gaslighting that's happening. We gotta come up with another word. What's a synonym for gaslighting? Let me know. Let me know what else we should call it. 21 Savage brings out Drake at Atlanta show. Who cares? They're both washed. 21's trash. I don't think he even had one good album. He might have had 2 good songs. Drake hasn't been good since More Life. Yeah, that's it. Who cares? This is under the Bay Bridge. I've seen this photo in a couple of different memes. But yeah, this is definitely under the Bay Bridge. I know it well. Perfect for short-term stays, Airbnb. Haha, pretty funny. Yeah, $1,200, which is facts. And it's the same thing. It's like I posted a meme to my Instagram of like a photo that a New York friend of mine actually sent me with the, you know, because I used to work in these, like, you know, buildings, this real estate stuff. You know, $4,000, Garden View Studio, $4,000, close to transportation, 1 month free, no fee. That's exactly what this is. But this one, how do we go back to the, yeah. Yep, that's the Bay Bridge. It was never, I mean, it was bad, but it's definitely gotten worse since I left. And like I said, I always have this FOMO, like things are going to get better. Like it's going to get better in San Francisco. It's going to get better in New York after I left, but it's not, at least not in a decade. And like I said, I think I said this yesterday, that it was going to take a decade. It was going to take about 10 years to clean up, to clean up New York City if they did everything right the day I left. So in October of 2020, and they elected a decent person, a real mayor and a real governor, and they did everything right and actually talked to people and you know, trim the fat, it would have taken 10 years to come back. But of course, they don't want that. Their hope is not to save the city, it's to drive it further into despair and tell you they're going to help, and the cycle continues. That's all it is. AOC too afraid to debate Tina Forte. Shout out Tina, you know, hot grandma running for AOC's congressional seat, I believe her district in Queens, Bronx, or something like that. And of course, they're not going to debate. That's the whole thing. I did a video about Katie Hobbs, who doesn't want to debate. John Fetterman is supposed to debate on October 25th. I believe we'll see if he actually makes it. I think they're going to probably come up with some sort of excuse, like a pipe burst. Do we all remember the pipe burst? So yeah, of course she's not going to debate. They're going to just say, you just want to make a spectacle. And it's, yeah, because you will be the spectacle. Everything will be exposed. But it doesn't matter. You should still debate her, because the brainwashing machine, the political machine, is gonna do its job, right? Like they're gonna splice it up. The fake news media is gonna splice it up. MSNBC is gonna do their thing. All your, you know, the brainwashing tactics that have been going on for decades, they're still gonna work. But you just can't. I mean, and I get it. It's like when we see these, you know, the new genre that we call Gen Z can't answer the simplest questions. It's like, those kids, they're still kind of eager to be on TikTok, or they're still kind of eager to be on camera, and it's still fun because they're young and they're not thinking about how stupid they're going to look. But AOC knows exactly how stupid she's going to look if she has to debate anybody, even just I guess there's no such thing as a normal Democrat, but you know, she wouldn't debate Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema, so she's definitely not going to debate Tina. And I like Tina. I don't know much about like her real policies, but she's based. She's just like, you know, it's just like Bronx to the core. She's always swearing and stuff. I don't know if that's going to come back and haunt her, but obviously she's better than AOC. Complex, Pusha T. I don't know if there's a meme. Time to release. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a meme. All right, yeah, the guy who makes the big jackets and stuff. Hilarious. Known church. Oh, yeah.
If you're a single adult man, you're going to
I started following this like local.
come here to this facility starting tomorrow.
When migrants first walk in after
NYC rolls out 5-star treatment for illegals with Xboxes, TVs, and 24/7 snacks. The food is all culturally appropriate.
intake, they will see a recreational room set up with rows of couches, TVs, Xboxes, and board games. There will also be a phone bank so migrants can connect with family in order to find more permanent housing.
We can do that in 24 hours, maybe even less. Many times, it's going to take longer than that. It could take days.
Next, there is a cafeteria that will provide migrants with 3 meals a day, and snacks, coffee, and tea will be available 24/7.
Those meals are all culturally appropriate. It is South American fare. The menu rotates on a regular basis. If you're a single adult man,
Wow, these people are absolutely despicable. The food is culturally appropriate. It's free 24 hours a day. Meanwhile, there's a guy shooting up dope under the Williamsburg Bridge, and you're just going to tell him, did you test it for fentanyl? That's what's happening here. Is they're rolling out the red carpet for the immigrants because they had no choice, because they painted themselves into a corner, and meanwhile, the regular junkies just wither away and die on the streets of New York, which is what they want. And, I mean, there was a guy, I think his name was Tucker Carlson. They got really mad at him for talking about replacement theory. And here we have a city literally declining rapidly, empty storefronts everywhere, junkies all over the street, junkies taking over the train station. People are dying. The homeless shelters are filled up. And then they roll out the red carpet for the people who hopped over the border. And at first, Eric Adams, it's a sanctuary city. We're all going to love it. That was him in 2018 or whatever. And then when it rolls around, they're like, oh, this is a little bit too much. It's kind of putting a strain on it. And then he said, oh, well, there's nurses and doctors and engineers and they can help fill the empty jobs. Bro, the unemployment rate in New York is twice that of the national average. And you're talking about, well, we have all these vacancies, and the people who just hopped over the fence are going to be the ones to fill those positions of engineer or doctor. It doesn't make any sense. Why, if they were doing so well, why did they hop the fence? They could have gone to another country. They could have knocked at the front door and started the paperwork. If they had a good job and they had a little bit of money, they could have done something. But they hopped over the fence, and now you're telling them that, oh, we're just going to give you a house. Like, what are the rules there, bro? You just live there indefinitely? When does this stop? This is insane. GOP candidate quits after cop catches him. Oh, jeez. The New York Post, they're always all over the place. I mean, they will break good stories about Hunter Biden, and then they will talk about how the breast of an OnlyFans model is uneven or something. They're just all over the place. 12,000 fentanyl pills found in packaged candy at major airport checkpoint. Or 12,000 fentanyl pills found packaged in candy at major airport. Doesn't this feel like this has been happening every year since I was a kid? Like, since I was a child, there was always, oh, there's cocaine in the Snickers, and there's memes about it. Obviously, we see them all the time. That we just found a Glock in a Snickers bar or whatever it is. But these, I don't know, these ring out as fake to me. It's just, every single year, it's the same thing. It's just, oh well, but we're not going to look into it, right? Even if it is true, we're not going to look into it because that would be racist, right? Like we saw at the beginning, the San Francisco mayor, London Breed, who was apologizing for pinpointing who was at least partly responsible for the drug problem in San Francisco, because you can't say that. So if this is true and you start to figure out where this is coming from or how it's happening, how it's getting here, then you will be deemed racist. This is insanity. This is, oh, Lord. Vice again. LOL, UK's latest prime minister only lasted 45 days. Okay. Vice is not funny. They're not. Let me just move on. It doesn't matter. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash's son dead at 26. Yeah, they want you to click the link in the bio to see how this guy passed. I'm not going to bite this time, and I'm not going to make any assumptions about anything he may have done in the past year or so that could have caused this. He was only 26 years old. Now, of course, he looks like he's 46, but, I'll leave it there. New evidence revealed in double murder case against Murdaugh. I don't know. False claim that CDC would require. Okay, all right. I think this is a good place to leave it. The Washington Compost going to bat, of course, for the CDC. Now, I don't know. I don't have kids, so I'm not really worried about what's happening right now. But I can tell you that when I do have kids, there will be no coronavirus shots or anything like that. And there was a lot of people posting that it's going to be on the schedule, or they're going to vote to put it on the schedule, and all kids would have to do it. And apparently that's false. So we'll see how this one ages for the Washington Compost, because we know they don't have a great track record. And I am going to figure out how to maybe stop the haze, how to get some more people in the stream. Of course, you should go to Amazon.com and buy my book, New York City 2020 by Eric Butler. Check out Alt Reporter. Check out my live stream with Andrew Says, from America's Hat up in Canada, Rebel News on Sunday afternoons. And yeah, we'll get this on a regular schedule. I'll figure out how it works, maybe or maybe not. Maybe we'll just do it from the gutter. We'll do it in the basement like this. You know what I'm saying? Until I get the Patriot Supply sponsor or the VPN sponsor or the Patriot Coffee sponsor or something like that.